Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Joe and welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be taking a look back at a thing Valve implemented that heavily impacted trading but didn't quite have the effect that they desired. Today we're going to be talking about how Valve nearly killed trading and why CSGO's economy survived and flourished in the way it did. If you don't know, I'm going to be talking about the 7-day trade ban that Valve implemented to try and combat scammers and gambling sites, and just how the effects have lasted around 2 or so years afterwards. Now, just before we get into the video guys, I'm super close to 100,000 subscribers. I'm literally about 3,000 or so subscribers away, so if you are new around here and you do enjoy the content, then feel free to subscribe. I've got a stat on my dashboard that shows around 60% of my viewers aren't actually subscribed, so if that is you and you do enjoy, then please do remember to subscribe. Now that's out the way, let's get into it. So on the 29th of March 2018, Valve implemented a change to the way trading works in CSGO, which shook everyone up. So essentially, the blog post reads as follows. Starting today, CSGO items received in trade will have the same 7-day trade cooldown as items purchased in-game or the Steam community market. Over time, third parties have developed services that use automated Steam accounts to mimic players and make use of Steam's trading functionality. Unfortunately, these third-party services have become a vector of fraud and scams. Unlike players, these services rely on the ability to trade each item very frequently. In contrast, a given item moves between actual players no more than once a week in the vast majority of cases. So the way they saw it was essentially, people don't trade items more than a week apart. If you trade a new knife, they seem to think that you're gonna own that knife for more than a week before you trade it away. And this was essentially implemented to try and combat the amount of scams and gambling that was going on at the time. 2018 was a huge year for CSGO gambling, much like 2017. There was coin flip sites, jackpot sites, etc., where you could deposit skins to the site and instantly win them back along with other people's skins, or deposit skins to the site and instantly withdraw other skins. Obviously, this isn't what Valve intended when they introduced trading to the game. I think that's pretty apparent. So they thought they'd put a 7-day trade hold on to try and slow these sites down. Also, in terms of scams, this was actually quite clever in terms of combating it. There was a lot of fake trading site bots, and we still get them in TF2, where if your account has somehow been compromised and someone sends you a trade offer, it might be redirected to a fake bot, or someone might send you a trade offer from a fake bot from a cash out site like OP Skins or Marketplace TF, etc. Obviously, why this scam was so effective is that once the scammer has then got the item to that fake bot, they can then instantly take that item and put it into their inventory. And with that 7-day trade hold in place, it meant that they'd have to wait a grand total of 14 days before they can take the item. So for example, let's say I get scammed for an Orb Asimov by a fake Bitskins bot. My Orb Asimov will then be sat in that Bitskins bot for 7 days, and then once the scammer can take it to their inventory, it will be sat in the scammer's inventory for a further 7 days, meaning it's going to be 14 days before they can actually get any money for their scam. And in this time period, if reports actually worked, this would be more than enough time for them to get trade banned. So I can definitely see why they'd take this approach in order to combat scams. It's definitely a big step. And this takes me on to what actually happened. So I'm going to start with the positives. Scams, it's a huge success. I mean, it's a lot less frequent that someone will try and scam you. If they are, it's probably going to be for a more high tier item, so it's actually worth their time. Generally, if you own higher tier items, you kind of know what you're doing. So I'd say the scams were a success. People are going to try a lot less frequently because it just is so much more time consuming. Having to wait like 2 weeks to get a $10 skin that you scammed just isn't worth it. Of course, scams do happen, and I mean, it's an inevitability. In any game that contains an economy and a trading system, you're going to get scammers because people just want to take the shortcut and take advantage of people with lesser knowledge. Unfortunately, it's just how the world works. But I think they've done a great job in minimizing this by implementing the trade hold. I wonder if this is something we'll see added to other Valve games such as Team Fortress 2 and Dota 2. Unfortunately, other scam methods are still pretty viable, and phishing links are very, very common still. However, this is definitely a step in the right direction of combating the fraud of CSGO items. Now, let's focus on the negatives. So gambling sites, unfortunately, were not hit so hard and definitely were not hit as Valve intended. They survived and very much so are thriving at this point in time. For example, they still support deposit systems in which you can deposit skins onto the site which will be converted to balance. As opposed to gambling with the skins themselves, you're gambling with a currency that the skins are converted to, which generally equates to dollars. So I can just go onto a CSGO gambling site, deposit an item for 30 credits because it's worth $30. I don't have the skin anymore, I have the money from the skin to gamble with. Of course, it means that I can't withdraw, and generally this is a step in the right direction. Bots more often than not will have items that aren't instantly withdrawable, and you'll have to pre-order them and wait like 5 to 7 days before you can actually withdraw that item, which definitely slows down the withdrawing process from gambling sites and makes you a lot less inclined to gamble because you've got to wait ages to get the skins that you want. Of course, a lot of people, when they go onto these gambling sites, they'll win money, and as opposed to waiting to withdraw a skin, they'll just withdraw it to their PayPal, withdraw it to their Bitcoin wallet, and just buy skins from a third-party site like BitSkins, etc. So it doesn't really slow down the process, it just adds an extra step, which would have previously been unnecessary. Alternatively, of course, we have the case opening sites, which have been going for way before this sort of trade ban was implemented. And a lot of these sites no longer support deposit via CSGO skins, which I guess in one regard is a win on Valve's part. It's just not really viable for these sites to support depositing of skins because it's going to take them 7 days before they can get any monetary value for them. So generally they will use something like Bitcoin or Ethereum or PayPal just so you can deposit actual money onto the site to gamble with instead. And instead of trying to win the CSGO skins, you're more just gambling with pictures of CSGO skins. So you'll open a case with a chance to win an image of a CSGO skin that has some sort of balance equated to it. You're not gambling with the actual skins anymore, you're gambling with an image of the skins and coins associated with the skins. Some of these case opening sites do allow you to withdraw, but as associated with the other gambling sites, a lot of the time they just won't be tradable and you'll have to wait a while. I'd say this is more resemblant of gambling now as opposed to CSGO gambling, because the only thing keeping it associated to CSGO is the fact that you're winning images of CSGO items. You're not actually playing with the skins anymore, which I guess is very good on Valve's part because they've successfully stopped the case openings. But once someone has delved into the world of sort of CSGO gambling, they're gonna sort of find the alternatives. And a lot of the CSGO sites ended up using what's known as VGO skins. This trend didn't really stay around for long, but of course once you're acquainted with CSGO sites, you're going to be visiting the sites frequently and gambling whatever it is they're using. The VGO skins were essentially the same concept as CSGO skins, but it covered more bases. It was like you'd win a watch for $1,000, and more often than not the prices would be super inconsistent. But I guess the fact I'm trying to make is that you can put any restrictions you want on CSGO gambling sites, but realistically people who gamble are still going to gamble, and CSGO gambling sites are going to veer off in whatever direction they need to and make whatever alterations to the site and the balance system that they need to gamble. And you can minimize the amount of new people that start gambling by putting these trade restrictions in place, but people who already know about gambling, etc., will find a way to do it, whether that's selling their skins for money and then using that money to gamble, or depositing their skins for balance on a site and using the balance on the site to gamble. Much like scams, you just can't really stop it. Once it's cemented itself in the culture and the economy, people are always going to find alternatives. So that's why they implemented it and the actual effects that it had. But what about the effects it had on trading? Peer-to-peer trading became near impossible because you'd trade for an item and you'd have to wait 7 days before you could even think about trading it away for profit. And as predicted, it definitely slowed down the trading process. I mean, as far as I'm aware from talking to people that I know that trade in CSGO regularly, more often than not people will just add money to their Steam wallet or add money to their wallet and use that to buy items to trade with, or just buy an upgrade to their knife, because trading is just so hard and tedious now. Like, imagine you make $2 profit on a trade and you need to wait a whole week to make another $2. Like, it's just not viable. You're going to be making like $8 a month. I'm sure in higher tier trading, it's definitely worth it. If you're trading with things like blue gems or rare items like dealers, etc., there's always going to be be a want for them, and people are always going to be prepared to overpay. And I definitely think that the higher tier trading you are, and the rarer skins that you're trading with, it's going to be more liable. But if you're going to be trying to do like a AK Safari Mesh to a dealer, it's probably not going to work, because if you're making 5 pence a trade, you're going to have to wait 7 days before you can make another 5 pence. So high tier traders are always going to be out there, and they're always going to be able to make profit because they've already got that high value item. But they've definitely killed off the low tier rags to riches concept with the 7-day trade ban. But guys, that is just about it for this video. If you did enjoy, then please don't remember to leave a like and let me know your thoughts on this topic down below. I definitely think it's going to make a really interesting discussion point if you think that maybe Valve will implement the 7-day trade ban into other Valve games with economies, or alternatively, if you want to let me know if maybe it had more or less of an impact than I think it did in the video, then let me know down in the comments below. It will be really interesting to see what you guys think. Thank you again very much for watching, guys, and peace. Stop until everybody knows me bangers in my room and sound just like the pros. I just made a bag and blew it on a coat.